What if I told you that the only way to succeed in life is being willing to leave your ego at the door, fall down multiple times, but have the courage to get back up and try again? That is what success is. I don't believe it can be measured, but if you can persevere and overcome when others are telling you to quit, you're a winner in my eyes. On this podcast, I will be sharing my failures and the lessons that I've learned and how I want to inspire enough people to reach their full potential so they can provide for themselves and their families. My name is Mark Sclair, and this is the Failing My Way in Public to Success. Like he just said, this is Failing My Way in Public to Success. And this time round, it was the Dubai Airshow. Now, how did this come about? If you've been following my journey, you'll know it's gone from sales training, leadership training, public speaking, and in that time, there's been some hosting of events. And it's something which I'm loving. I'm really, really enjoying because it takes the skills that I've got, that I've acquired over many, many years, that makes me a nightmare for people like you. Hope you got the movie reference. And it's been able to allow me to use that to do what I love to do, which is communicate with people, get people interacting, get people laughing, get people engaged. Like, I love doing stuff like that. So this time around, it was the Dubai Airshow. But how did that come about? Well, that came about with a network of people that, and I call them good friends, that I've been able to reach out to, and they've put me forward for specific shows or trainings. Now, what's important here is that people want to help you. I fully believe that. But if they don't feel that they're going to be protecting their asses in this thing, there's only so much they can do. So after me getting the gig, I messaged the person and I said, look, I really appreciate you doing this for me. He said, Mark, if I didn't think you could do it, I wouldn't put you forward for it. So as much as people want to help you, they also need to make sure that you're going to be able to do what they are putting you forward for. Otherwise, they look stupid. So all these times we get annoyed and frustrated with, oh, this person never helps me. We've also got to protect ourselves as well. So shout out to Simon. Really appreciate you doing that for me. So what happened from there is I was then able to meet with the team of the Dubai Airshow, specifically for the Vista stage. And I wasn't aware of anything of this before, like what it was, but I did have a little bit of a brief. And I went into the meeting, and this was actually, if I remember right, this was about 6 months roughly before the show even started. Now, what I've come to find out is that's very, very, very early planning. So hats off to that person for doing that. So we moved on. So I came to meet at their office and met the lovely Kate, who I've become quite close with now in regards to how we work and how we align with that, because we work in very, very similar ways. So great person to have been joined with, and I'm very appreciative. But we kind of made it clear on what was expected of me, what I would need from them, how it's a two-way handshake, which is really important. And although I've been in Dubai 18 years, 17 years, Dubai Airshow I'd never attended before. Not much experience in aerospace, not much experience in aviation, apart from getting on some planes. But first thing was I was very interested, which meant that I had a thirst for learning, which meant I wanted to understand more and go on that journey. And the same as when I do my HR events, I'm listening to the events, to the key speakers, to the panelists, because I'm really interested in what's being said. And because of that, I'm then able to take that information and the bits in between where it needs to kind of run smoothly, that's where I can kind of join the dots. And that's what I love to do. So yes, I wasn't that aware of the aviation aerospace industry, but let me tell you, for 6 months, I went on a journey to really try to understand and enjoy it. And that's exactly what I did. So we fast forward, and during the 6 months before, there was always a little bit of interaction and a few things going on. And what I committed to was that during the challenge, or during the 5-day event, which is what it was, there was going to be a Vista challenge, which is where inventors, they would get up, or founders of companies, they would get up on stage and they would pitch their idea to judges. And there's 3 categories. Now, I am not a Dragon's Den specialist. I'm not a Shark Tank specialist. I don't admit to doing that at all. But what I am able to do is able to help people get on stage and articulate a message and how that should flow and what they should do and what they should be aware of. So about a month before the show kicked off, we did a masterclass, and the same room as this actually. And if anyone was watching that at the time, they'll know that my dog got out of the kitchen and came in, and I was trying to like usher him out, and everyone saw that. But that's all part of it. That is all part of it. I wish I would have just brought him up actually and showed him to everybody. Maybe in a minute I'll go and get him and he can say hello to everybody here. But that was an experience by itself. And what was great there was shared ideas, shared my experience of how to get, and again, sales, right? So if we look at this, someone's on stage, why are they listening to you? Why are they listening to you? They're listening to you because they believe you can do something for them. If they don't believe that, they're not going to listen to you. So you've got to hook them in. And that comes with what challenges, what problems you're solving, how it relates to what industry they're in, and that's what hooks people in. So you haven't got to get up and show slides about your company and how many clients you've worked with and who's in your team. That all needs to come into it, but not, you haven't got to do your company profile straight away. You haven't got to. It can start with a statistic, it can start with data, it can start with something that's going to get somebody interested. That's what I'm still working on with these reels and these shorts, because this content I'm showing here is very important. People can learn from this, but that 5 seconds you have with somebody flicking through social media, if you don't grab their attention straight away, you've lost them, unfortunately. Now, did the masterclass, and at the time I was actually in the UK, so I flew back to Dubai. That was on the Saturday. I landed very early morning, and the event was on the Monday. So on Saturday in the day, I went down to the site, which for me, if you've been following my journey, you know I love to case the joints. You know I love to see what's going on, what's happening. And that was really, really important. I had to get a feel for it. I had to understand what was this stage all about actually? Why was this being done? And when we got there on a Saturday, I mean, the before, you just couldn't believe they got it ready in time. I mean, this event was just huge, huge, I tell you. And if you stepped in there and you thought things were going to be all right by Monday, probably most people didn't think that, but events people, they just get on with it and they make it happen. Full respect to anybody that is successful in events, because you're constantly putting out fires, you're constantly having to deal with clients who are expecting one thing and it's not being manageable to do that, but you still can't let them down. And it's hard, it's really, really hard. But I arrived there and yeah, the stage was there. So I got up, said a few words. We did a little bit of a sound check as well, which was good. But they weren't ready for me. So I came back the next day on Sunday, which was great again, because I just wanted to get a feel for it again. But I learnt this time I was not going to get a taxi there. So I drove this time. Yeah, not spending 400 dirhams on taxis there and back. Drove, lucky enough to get a pass to be able to park closely. And I made sure I was aware of how to get in, what to do, the best routes, because when it came game time on Monday, I'd planned enough to be able to be in a position to succeed. But, like I always say, everyone has a plan till you get punched in the face. Now, what Kate asked of me was that I dressed in a certain way. And when I was buying the clothes for this event, I actually misunderstood what she meant by the attire. So I bought pretty much a whole new wardrobe of items that I was going to buy. And one time I sent her a photo. I said, "Oh, what do you think of this outfit?" She said, "Well, that's good, but probably not for the event. Maybe for the evening that we're putting something on. Maybe wear it for then." And I was like, oh shit, what does she actually want here? So then it was really the fact that what I normally wear is a suit and a shirt and a pair of shoes, smart shoes. But we flipped it a little bit. So I wore the suit, got a really nice fitted shirt, which is, I don't know, maybe you want to hear this, maybe you don't, but really, for me, it's really important the length of that shirt, because it was untucked. So I had to put on or try many different shirts to be able to find the right one, but we found it. And then I had to find the right matching trainers, because certain trousers were one length, I'm going into some information here, but truthfully, this is failing my way in public. Until the Sunday night, the outfit was not sorted. I'm very clear on that. And me turning up on Monday with what I was wearing, which wasn't what... So I actually turned up, so I got there at 7 a.m. and we weren't even starting until 10:30. So I turned up in different clothes, and I could see from when I met Kate, she's like, "Oh, is this what you're wearing? Is this what you're wearing?" So that was quite a funny thing. But I had the suit with me. So it got to around about 9:45 after checking a few things, doing more of a sound check, making sure things were okay. But then I left something in the car. Now, when I went there at 7 a.m, there was no queue at all. Gone back to the car, gone to go and get what I needed, come back and there's a massive queue, and it's getting closer and closer and closer to kick off for when I need to get changed. And it was hot still as well. So I started sweating, like all these things. When I got on stage, you never know this happened, but these were the things that make the difference. Working with Kate and with Anita as well, who was, I don't know how to, she puts the content together. So everything you see, all the presentations, all the timings, she put all the panels together, booked all of those people. So as a team, as a trio, we were awesome. We completed each other. And with the AV team and with the other people who were assisting, running around and making sure that there were bottles of water on stage and the tables were there and the chairs were there, it was a great team. But as usual, you can plan as much as you want, but something is always going to happen. And the truth is, it's what you do in those moments that make the difference. Something's always going to happen. Something is always going to happen. Now, I am usually a paper person. Papers. I love papers, okay? But Kate didn't want that and Nita didn't want that. So they got me an idiot-proof iPad. And this was simple as you press a button, the file is there, and you just read, and that is it. And the script, I like to say, if it's on the script, I'm going to read it. I'm like Ron Burgundy. If it's down, I'm going to read it. But anyway, that's a bit of a joke. But we got the script, and we kicked off. We kicked off the day, and as much as I visualised there being loads of people sat there, there was nobody. But like Sheikh Mohammed's vision, build it and they will come. And we started off with the first panel. And I had to do an introduction first of all. And I had two intros written out. One was really serious, and the other was a motivational quote which I put together about what it's like to be a startup, what it's like to be in a startup. And that, I know that, and you've got to go through a lot of pain and a lot of adversity. And I read that out, and that was kind of my Rocky moment. And there were people which were walking around and they did hear me, but there was nobody there yet sat down. And we went off and we started, and I announced the first panel onto the stage. And what's great here is we confirmed that I would announce the moderator on the stage, and then the moderator would announce the rest of the panel. You need to get that stuff sorted before anything, and we were aligned with what we were doing. So the panel came on, and the moment the names popped up, people started sitting down, and within no time at all, we were at full capacity, which was brilliant. So the panel went on for about 45 minutes, and once it finished, I came back on the stage and I was about to give my points and what I learned and everything, but nobody was there. Nobody. Where was everybody? Everybody had gone off to go and talk to the panel, which is amazing because that is what it should be. If they can engage, if they can listen to the panel and have a conversation with them afterwards, amazing. But I didn't realise that. I had all these notes, everything written out, and that wasn't how it was. So I had to pivot and change the way I was doing things. But we moved on to the next one, and I believe the next one was a keynote, and we arranged that the chairs were going to be removed. And again, this is really important. What was nice was that there was the screen was above where the chairs were, because sometimes during these events, the chairs are in the way of the keynote slides. And I forgot to mention, we had a guy up above. And that was the DJ. Big shout out to DJ Leo. and he was putting the tunes in. He was getting the energy going. He was keeping things in flow, but it wasn't always easy. And maybe look, this is about learning for next time. The communication, between going on stage, announcing people, he couldn't really see the stage. So unless the AV guy was in contact with him, making him aware, we learned. Each day we got better and better and better at it. And I know that maybe somebody watching this now may be thinking, oh, bit of a shit show. But the truth is, you have no idea what goes on at these events. Our job is that you sit there, have a great experience, and you were none the wiser to the whole thing. So we went through the first day. We started at 10:30. It went on to about 3 o'clock. But as we were coming towards the final discussions or the final panel, all we hear is vroom, vroom, vroom. And that was the actual air show. So we were competing against the air show that was going on. But we got through it, we finished, and that was the end of day one. And this went on for 5 days. Now, second day, I'm trying to remember, we had a little gathering afterwards on the first day, because if you know me, I like to go home and just pass out. But we continued on, and we had a bit of a debrief, and we got set up for the next day, because that was the first day of the challenges, which is where the panel and the finalists, there were 15 finalists in total. Let's move to day 2 then. Right, we started with a fireside chat, and again, there was nobody sat there, not a single soul. But the 2 guys came up, started chatting, and doing their conversation, where that's the experience. You're 2 people are having a conversation, and it just so happens there's people walking past, and you can sit down, you can listen to what's going on. And really, really interesting conversations that were happening. So if I can just talk a little bit about the panel discussions, actually, because you had a lot of investors on stage, you had VCs, you had family offices, you had people, inventors, you had people that have been through that journey of startups to scale-ups to getting funding from people. And this was where the stories were shared. And it just pops to my head now. Luxembourg, free money. And what's interesting there is, like, they were talking about how, not easy, but how they're just giving out money in Luxembourg. Whereas in the UAE and other parts, you have to kind of lay out how you're going to be spending that investment and why it's going to be spent on that and what's going to be happening there. And I think at one time, probably here, there was just money given away, but we've become a lot more educated, a lot more wiser into the types of investors and the types. How comes you want to be working with this company? How comes you want backing from these investors? That's really important. It's not always the right fit. Like many of the panelists said, it's a marriage, this. And a lot of the time you're speaking or working with these companies more than you are with your own family, more than you are with your husband or wife. So it's very important you get into bed with the right people. And unfortunately, a lot of people have been burnt. They thought they needed this and they actually needed that. And that's what I learned a lot from, actually, in regards to getting the right people, listening to those panel discussions. It was really interesting to me, and I hope that came across when I gave my digest afterwards, because I found it all really interesting. So we had the competition, and the competition was 3 categories in regards to aviation, aerospace and sustainability, and each category had 5 finalists and 5 judges. So I would announce the judges onto the stage first, and then every time I would announce the finalist, and they would have 3 minutes to pitch, and then there'd be a gong or a bell, and then there'd be 3 minutes of questions from the judges. And what's interesting here is, people had slides, people had presentations, and we wanted to make it work quick. This is quick fire. But truthfully, shit is going to happen. And that's where I was able to get on stage and have a little bit of filler in between. And that was my job. Anything going on behind, I'm the distraction. Look this way, don't look anywhere else. And that's what I felt really proud about doing, because we made sure that even if something did happen, which it did, which is always going to happen, we got everything moving smoothly. Now, after each 5 finalists were judged, there would be a roundup of numbers, and then we would have the announcement. And it was reading from a card, and it was a big, whoa, whoa, here we go, everybody. Who thought it was number 1? Who thought it was number 2? Who thought it was number 3? All that cheesy stuff, but loved it. Got announced, winners won, moved on to the next judges panel, or judges finalist. Same thing again, 3 minutes of pitching, 3 minutes of questions. Gong, that was it, on to the next one. And again, had issues, I'm the distraction, we move on to the next one. Announced the winner. And then the final one, announced the winner. And then I believe that we had one more panel discussion after that, and then that was finished for the day. That was day 2. But on day 2, we had an event which Kate organised, which was on the runway. Was it on? No, it was at Sky Dubai. Sky Dubai. And Kate made sure that everybody had a good night. It was a special invite, and it was a way for people to let loose a little bit, to network, to bounce ideas off each other. But she did an amazing job with bringing in these skydivers who had like fire packs added on their backs, and there was a show there which was really, really cool. The food went very, very quickly. Every time the burgers came out, they were gone, so maybe more burgers for next time. But other than that, no one didn't have a drink in their hand. No one didn't enjoy themselves. There was the violinist, there was the DJ, there was the saxophone player. It's all coming back to me now. It was really, really good. I had to get out there early though, and this is a problem. Here, listen to this one. I organised, it's all coming back. I organised my dry cleaning, and unfortunately they delivered it to the wrong location. I'd moved hotels by that time, so I had to leave there early and drive to the old hotel I was at to go and pick up the dry cleaning, so I had a suit for the next day, because otherwise I wouldn't have had anything to wear. Now, I'm pretty certain that the suit I wore that day, or the next day, was a bit shrunk. Definitely shorter arms. I don't know if it was because I was wearing a t-shirt underneath, maybe, but it was definitely shorter than when I put it in for the wash. But blue suit, white shirt, white trainers, I looked the part. We went again. Wednesday, we were live. We had panel discussions, keynotes again, really, really cool. Just keeping the energy up, keeping everyone going. The DJ had the music blaring, really good. Thursday was a great day, if I remember rightly, because we had the, what did we have? Oh yes, we had the Vista Challenge. The Vista Cup Challenge, which was where we took the 3 winners from Tuesday, the finalists, the winners of the finalists, and we took 3 people from where the judges had walked around and been having conversations with different startup companies and thought, right, I'd like to have them in the final. And they chose 3 people from there. So there was 3 wild cards and the 3 finalists. And what was really cool there was we had the challenge again. So it was the same thing, 3 minutes, oh, again, which was really, really cool. And then we had the announcement of the winner. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. If you're watching this, you'll see my facial expressions. I'm kind of just reminiscing a little bit because it really was 5 great days. But what we had on the Wednesday, which was really cool, was we had a reverse pitch, which was the investors getting up on stage and speaking to the startups about why they should work with them. And that was really cool. That was really cool to see the flip side of it. Now, when I heard there was going to be a reverse, what popped into my head was reverse Uno. So at my nieces and nephews' playroom, there was a pack of Uno cards, and I ended up taking the reverse Uno cards, and I used it when we started the reverse challenge, and I put it up. And I saw that some people got the joke, but maybe not all. And another joke that failed to work, or my reference, was the Cool Runnings reference, which was people were talking about how you need to be authentic and how, although it works with somebody, doesn't mean it works with somebody else. And what I said was, it reminds me of the movie Cool Runnings, where you have the Jamaican bobsleigh team who were trying to be, I believe it was like the Germans. He wanted to be like the Germans, and they even went, eins, wein, drein, and they were trying everything. But that wasn't them. That wasn't who they were. So even though it worked for those other people, it didn't work for those. And that's interesting when you look at what others companies are doing and you're trying to copy them, you're trying to mimic them. And unless it's going to be true with who you are, you're going to forget who you are and actually forget that why you're doing it and what's the reasons. So that was really important. And I know not everyone got the joke. Kate, I don't think you were listening at the time, but yes, it was a good joke and I still stick by that. And I'm going to do an article on that as well about staying authentic. Really important. So the Thursday night was the final night and it was the gala dinner at the Atlantis Hotel. And this was Dubai Airport had put together an event for about 4,000 of their clients. And we were lucky enough to be welcomed and invited to the show. And I'm very grateful for that. Shout out to the team for getting me an invite for that. Really, really, really appreciate it. We had the gala dinner and it was Teddy Swims and Mark Ronson. Teddy Swims was really cool. I loved the cover songs he did. Mark Ronson, yeah, it was cool, but Teddy Swims was really wicked. The food was great, I believe, if I remember rightly. Yeah, the drinks were flowing, but I was drinking a lot of water as well because we still had one more day. My only regret was that I didn't get any good photos from that night, like in my tux. So maybe I need to reuse that tux again. If anyone knows, I got that green tux last year for the CIPD gala. Was able to repurpose it this year, and maybe I'll get to wear it again because there's no evidence of me wearing it this time. But Friday was about the kids. It was the next gen. And we put on where they were able to get on stage, the university students, and pitch their ideas. And they all did a wonderful job. Now, I'm speeding on a little bit here because it's very easy to say this happened day one, this happened day two, this happened day three. But the truth is, every day was just such a great experience for me because working with different people, working with different startups, learning from people, connecting with different people, seeing better opportunities, justifying why I should have been selected to be on stage, and that giving me more opportunities with the business now, with other gigs that are coming up in 2026. That for me is really important. You've got to put yourself in those positions. And it's all well and good to say, hey, I'm good at what I do, but I need people to see that as well. And I believe I was able to demonstrate that. Yes, there were mistakes along the way. Yes, things are going to happen, but it's how you deal with those at the time which makes all the difference. Now, I'm probably forgetting certain people, so I want to do a blanket thank you to everybody that was involved in the event, working with people, being part of the team. I think it's important as well, like, before we did the event, I went into the office a couple of times, and one time I just sat there all day and did my own work, and it was just so cool to be in an office because apart from my days at Mead and with, I don't want to say the HR software because that, although we were in office, it was nothing like it used to be at Mead, 100 plus people. So it was nice to be around that again. And that's what I miss at times with what I'm doing. But when I do my training, I go into offices, I'm around a lot of people, so that kind of ticks that box for me. But it really was cool being part of the event. And I think as well, maybe I should have said this at the beginning, but my thoughts and prayers go to the gentleman who lost his life on the final day of the show. The only positive I can say from that, if we pick anything from it, is that he passed away or he died doing something he was passionate about and loved. So I always try to put positive on things. So that's what I would say is the only positive from that. But thoughts and prayers to his family. And I'm not a person to spread, and that's what upsets me at times. Like the moment anything happens, there's WhatsApp messages, there's group messages, this has happened, that's happened. And the show was incredible, and we shouldn't get away from the fact of what devastation happened with that gentleman. But what was delivered on those 5 days was nothing short of remarkable. With the high levels of security, with what's going on geopolitically at the moment, Dubai made it happen. The events company made it happen. They all made it happen. I was just one small percentage of that, but it was incredible to be part of it. And I can't wait. Can't wait for 2027 to be working with the team again, and look forward to doing something with them, or lots with them, in 2026. So I'd like to thank you all. This was me failing my way in public to success, and I will see you on the next one.